Our Brad Hamilton talked to the Solano County Sheriff about the extra support and one Vallejo resident who says he's taking a wait-and-see approach to all of this.
A safer Vallejo benefits the entire county. That was the message from the sheriff of Solano County, whose own department is now helping out a depleted Vallejo PD. But at least according to one resident, he's going to need to see real change before he believes he's safer. Omar Hernandez jokes that his Vallejo home has enough surveillance signs and cameras for the entire block. He says it wasn't always this way, but it has become a necessity.
I hear gunshots, I hear people doing donuts.
Despite the noise and the crime, Omar says he still felt comfortable living in the city where he grew up. That is until last October, when a missing 28-year-old San Francisco woman was murdered, her body found hidden in the attic of a home just a few doors down from his.
I want to move out of here and don't want to be here because plus too, I have a son. I don't feel safe for my son to be around here in Vallejo as much.
Omar told us that he thinks part of the problem is the community's lack of faith when they dial 911. For the past 2 years, Vallejo police have struggled with staffing shortages, leading to slower response times and heavier caseloads. But now it appears help is on the way.
We are transitioning to this vehicle with this branding.
Starting today, the Solano County Sheriff's Office will send a dedicated team, including a lieutenant, a sergeant, and 6 deputies to patrol East and South Vallejo. They'll answer calls 4 days a week, from Wednesday through Saturday during the afternoon and overnight hours. Sheriff Brad DeWall says the goal is simple.
At the end of the day, what the community can expect is a reduced response time when they call 911, which is our ultimate goal.
The sheriff acknowledged the challenges of using his own resources to fill the need for another department, but he says that they are committed to making it work.
These folks, by the way, kudos, they stepped up, they want to be part of it, they volunteered. So this team volunteered because they want to make a difference in our Vallejo community.
But for Omar, promises aren't enough.
I see it when I believe it because I find it really hard to believe. I see American Canyon officers over there, they respond hey, we're there, quick.
He says he'll be watching closely, hoping this time more badges on the street actually means feeling safer at home. The sheriff told us that they're going to help out with Vallejo PD until the end of 2026. Hopefully by then they will have hired and trained a number of new officers.
A key site for San Francisco's transgender community is a step closer to getting a new recognition. Compton's Cafeteria was granted a historic designation unanimously approved by the city's Historic Preservation Commission. So the Board of Supervisors still needs to sign off. But as our Kelsey Thord shows us, advocates say today's marks an important milestone.
Santana Tapia has been at the forefront of the fight to get the building that once housed Compton's Cafeteria at the intersection of Turk and Taylor added to the designated historical site by the city.
It's important for us to really make sure that the actual space, the walls that protected our people for so many nights, the places where trans women got to sit and enjoy a cup of coffee, that physical space remains.
Back in the 1960s, Compton's was a place where trans women would gather to chat and build community. In 1966, it became the location of one of the country's first riots, sparked by the mistreatment of the trans community by police.
One amazing, fierce advocate was over it. She was over not being able to have a space where she could just exist. So she threw a cup of coffee at a police officer who was harassing her, and a riot broke out.
That riot happened 3 years before the more famous Stonewall riots in New York City. It's that history that is pushing current advocates to make sure the site remains preserved.
I personally like to tell these stories of resistance because when there is so much being pointed at trans people these days, particularly trans youth, I think it's important to know that not only have we existed, but that we have a history of standing up as a community to take up our space.
Compton's Cafeteria is actually already designated a historical site at the federal level, but local advocates like Santana want the city to also expand its own historical designation to protect the building from any future demolition.
I want students and future generations to not only know, but to be able to go up to those walls and touch them, and to feel the power and the legacy that's there, and to be proud of what San Francisco represents.
Santana's dream is that one day a new gathering space for the trans community can go in that same location. But in order to do that, the building has to remain. It's up to the Historical Preservation Commission and eventually the Board of Supervisors to decide whether or not that will happen.
Activist group Compton's Coalition says it's also pursuing the city's appeals process to oust the current owners of the site. Private prison operator Geo Group. They have hoped to have one day transform the space into a place that honors its history. All right, we want to give you another live look from San Jose right now. We are awaiting a news conference from police after a wild shootout involving an armed carjacking suspect. We now know the suspect is dead. An officer was shot and is in critical but stable condition. We'll bring you the latest and the news conference just as soon as it starts. Wine imports could soon cost a lot more if President Trump follows through with a new tariff threat on France. It has some California wine shops worried about their future. On Monday, the president threatened to place a 200% tariff on French wines and champagnes. It's because the country's president said he would not join Mr. Trump's so-called Board of Peace, originally created to help end the war on Gaza and oversee reconstruction. One San Diego wine shop owner says a tariff that large would mean cutting what products they carry.
The cost of goods have jumped 30%, and the tariffs are just a piece of that, a big piece of that. That tariff has to be paid immediately upon importing the wine. It would mean we can no longer import French wines while that tariff is in place.
This morning during his speech in Davos, President Trump brought up the wine tariffs again as he told a story about a disagreement with the French president over prescription drug prices and the threat of a 100% tariff during that talk.
Temperatures across the Bay Area very close to what's normal for this time of year for most of us, upper 50s and low 60s. But where the fog was stubborn this morning, only upper 40s in Concord. We will disrupt that fog pattern over the next couple of days. We'll take a look at the extended forecast, see if we can find some rain coming up in First Alert Weather.